it also meant that when I could start to feel that fear, I knew what to do. Thinking ahead, future planning my responses to certain things that I knew were going to trigger me or I would find difficult really helped me to stay focused, stay feeling confident, stay grounded, and show up as my best self. Make sure that I was making myself feel proud. For too long, talented experts with a service-based business like coaches, consultants, and freelancers have been losing out to the often inferior competition, and for just one reason. They struggle to communicate the true value of what they offer. This is made all the more challenging if you have a quieter personality or are not already fluent in how to build a profitable business. If you can relate, I am excited that you're here because I believe that value whispering can help. It's the art of knowing your true value, then weaving this through every amazing thing that you do so you can naturally stand apart from your competitors, feel aligned in everything that you do, and have an impact that matters. Welcome. I'm your host, Melita Campbell, and I'm excited to be your guide in mastering the art of value whispering. Today's show, I'm going to be talking about how to network with confidence, because this is the ultimate test of your value whispering, because you need to express your true value live in person, often several times, during a setting that can feel quite unnatural at times, particularly if you are someone who is naturally more introverted or shy like myself. However, networking, I've come to believe, is really the ultimate shortcut to success in your business. It's better than Google if you're wanting answers or connections or to find the right person to support you in your business. It's how we start to attract the right people and opportunities to our business. So there is a lot riding on networking. And when I first started to network, I was a complete disaster because I was putting so much pressure on myself to get it right, to be amazing, to dazzle everyone. And I really thought that successful networking was all about you being the center of attention and giving out as many brochures and business cards as you possibly could during the session. Of course, that's not successful networking at all. And I completely burned out of that process. It's a lot of pressure. However, over time, I figured out how I could make networking work for me. And once I did, once I found my personal approach, then it helped me to build my network really quickly and become known for my network. I started to be asked to speak at various events on how to network successfully. And when I stood up on stage and announced the title of my talk was A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking, then people were always quite surprised and like, but you're not shy. You're not an introvert. I was like, yeah, I am. It's been a long journey to get here. But what I shared was different to what I heard other people sharing. And in my own journey to get comfortable with networking, I followed other expert networkers who were extroverts and just found that although it was nice to go to an event with someone else, I could never network that way. I wasn't an extrovert. I didn't feel comfortable the way that they did. So their methods were never going to be right for me. And I read books on how to work a room. But again, while there were some great tips within those books, none of them really addressed how I actually felt, how terrified I was arriving at an event and already telling myself before I walked through the door that I was going to mess up, that I was going to feel awkward. And on top of that, I had the memory of previous events I'd been to where I felt I had underperformed, I'd let myself down, I'd made a fool of myself, and I came away feeling exhausted. So before I walked into the room, I had all of this baggage, making that really difficult and uncomfortable for me. And I didn't find any books or guides that helped with that aspect the mindset side of comfortable networking. So, seeing how much people took away from my talk, where I shared this side of how I approach networking, I decided to write a book. So, 3 years ago now, I think it is, I wrote the book, A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking, and I've been receiving so many amazing messages from people who've read the book and are using it as their guide to finally go out there and network, and it's working for them. And so I recorded an audio version. I know that I love audiobooks because they enable me to download reading on the go, and I seem to be always on the go as a mum running a business and walking the dog. It's much more practical at this stage of life for me. I love sitting down with a proper book, but it's rare that I get that opportunity. So I listen to a lot of books. So I really wanted to create an audiobook version, and I am super excited to announce that that is now available for you. So I have included at the end of this podcast the first chapter that really sets the scene and introduces what the book is all about. But before we get to that, I wanted to share a little overview of what my journey has been like, what is contained within the book, so you can already start to think a bit differently about your networking and hopefully get the courage to go out there more often. And this, coupled with the other lessons you learn on this podcast, is going to help you to get comfortable making new connections, finding new clients, new partners, new friends in that process, and weaving your value through the conversations that you have there. So, when it comes to networking, I had a pretty shaky start. You might not realize this if you meet me out and about today. However, I'm an introvert and I grew up feeling extremely shy and awkward around strangers, and networking used to terrify me. I successfully avoided it at all cost when I lived in London, but as soon as I moved to Switzerland, gosh, 20 years ago now, I had to figure it out because otherwise I'd have no friends or contacts. How you find a job here and how you make connections is all done here through networking. So I was really going to limit my career and opportunities if I didn't find a way to step up and start figuring out how to make networking work. My early attempts were pretty disastrous. I would stumble over my words and generally feel like a rabbit caught in headlights. I felt so awkward and out of place. And as I mentioned earlier, I started to follow other people and see what they did, but it became so clear that they felt so at ease moving from one conversation to the next. That was never going to be me, so it didn't really help. I needed to find an approach that suited my quieter personality and would help with my mindset as well. I bought books to learn the skills, and it was great at helping me understand the different stages of networking and what could be done. And some of the tips I still use to this day, but nothing really helped me prepare mentally for the challenge ahead. Then one day I was fortunate to be invited to a leadership training event, and we were encouraged to do some self coaching where we had to find a problem we were experiencing, brainstorm solutions, and then organize our ideas and make an action plan. I did that for networking because it was something that was really bothering me at that time. It was something that I was really trying so hard to figure out. And out of that action plan came my victory formula. Now, this is the first part of the book when you read it. Victory stands for vision, intention, courage, true self, obstacles, rules, and you've got this. It maps out my way forward and it fit my natural skills and personality. And it helped me to build my confidence comfortably and start achieving more of my goals with ease. And what it also did that I was quite surprised about was it gave me the confidence to start public speaking and to start my own networks. So I became a founder member of the Geneva Communicators Network, a committee I was a part of for more than 15 years. And I started a women's network within the bank that I worked at. I might cover that in another episode because it taught me so much about how women perceive and achieve success. And I'd love to share that with you. And it got me invited to be part of the Career Women's Forum, which was another network of women trying to accelerate women's careers and get more women into executive and leadership positions as well. So, along with my networking, I was being asked to speak, and I joined Toastmasters and grew my personal speaking skills. And that's, again, another story for another day. But once I understood this victory formula and made it work, everything fell into place and felt much more comfortable. So the V was vision. So I started creating a clear vision so I could connect with why mingling with strangers was so important to me and therefore worth the effort. That vision and making that vision bigger than my fears was already a huge help to me. It put my limiting beliefs into perspective and enabled me to take that next step. Then I looked at how to get intentional about mastering the skills I needed. So I had the vision, I knew why this was important for me, and that then helped me to make that decision that, yeah, this is important to me. I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to get those skills and make networking work. And I focused on building my courage. And I focused on courage over confidence because I believe courage comes first. You need the courage to walk into that networking room for the first time. You need the courage to put your hand out and say, "Hi, my name's Melita." Maybe if you're someone who loves networking, you're thinking, "What? That doesn't take courage." But for me, that was really being brave. And confidence is what comes afterwards. After you've been brave and courageous, the confidence follows. You have the courage to show up the first time. You don't know what's going to happen. You have to sort of trust yourself. But then once you've been there once, you've built that trust. You know you can go there, survive, do a great job, and come away again. So then you have more confidence the next time that you have the skills and ability to show up. So I worked on my courage, which in turn built my confidence. So confidence comes after courage comes first. So having that vision, getting intentional, and having that confidence to keep going was one side of things. But then I had to tackle this idea that I wasn't good enough. I was running the story in my mind that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't pretty enough, that I wasn't well traveled enough, you name it, fill in the blank enough. I had all of those going on. So I had to really learn, well, what did I have to offer? What do I believe in? What do I bring that is valuable? So it encouraged me to be true to myself and not feel tempted to be like anyone else, because it's when we show up as our true selves that we connect with the right people, that we attract those right opportunities. If we're trying to be someone else, then it doesn't quite come together and it doesn't feel good and it doesn't build our confidence. So, being your true self, that's the T, is really, really important. And that is part of building your personal brand as well, deciding who you are, how you want to be remembered, how you're going to show up to ensure that people do come away with that right perception and experience of you. So it's not trying to be anyone else, but really stepping up into a more intentional and purposeful version of yourself. Then I had the O, which is obstacles. So I was trying to plan ahead to determine how I would respond to certain obstacles. And we know what's going to come up. We know, I knew when I went networking, it was walking into the room for the first time. That part was quite nerve-wracking. And then I'd get my badge and I'd speak to the lady on the desk. That part was easy because they're always really friendly. But then walking into the main area where people are networking, and that's where all the strangers are, that bit was really scary, and saying hello to someone for the first time. So I broke down all these parts of the journey that I knew I was going to find difficult. And I started to look at, well, what could I do? What can I do if this happens? What can I do if I feel this way? What can I do to minimize that? And what can I do to set myself up for success? So I had a plan of how I would tackle any eventuality, and that gave me more courage. So that really helped. And it also meant that when I could start to feel that fear, I knew what to do. I had a plan and I would put that into action and breeze through it. So, thinking ahead, future planning my responses to certain things that I knew were going to trigger me or I would find difficult really helped me to stay focused, stay feeling confident, stay grounded, and show up as my best self. Make sure that I was making myself feel proud. Then I created a set of rules to guide my actions. So this is the R, the rules. These gave me permission to grow at my own pace and to make mistakes and call them fascinating and celebrate all my achievements, no matter how small. These rules removed a lot of the pressure that I previously placed on myself to do everything perfectly. And I since learned that the quote that inspired this part of the formula, do something every day that scares you, came from Eleanor Roosevelt, who was really introverted, also hated networking, hated being out there in social situations. However, her life forced her into this situation, and she became, in the end, known again for her networking, for her ability to inspire others to go out there and do great things. And so I kind of like to believe that maybe that was part of her rules that helped her to get more comfortable with networking as well. It could well be possible. Who knows? So, one of the rules I'd like to share with you is that I made it okay to stay just as long as I felt I could show up as my best self, because I often would go networking still to this day. And there comes a point where I can feel my social battery just like blinking and about to run out altogether. So I gave myself permission to leave before that happened. So I can be confident that I've shown up as my best self. And at that moment, I can start to feel myself and my energy dipping. I would say goodbye and I would leave before I was pushing myself to stay till the very, very end. I thought it was a game of business card bingo, get all those business cards out, don't leave until you have. But I was exhausted. It wasn't working for my energy and my personality. And that memory of how awkward that felt was holding me back as well. So giving myself the permission that, if I go for even 10 minutes and I have one nice conversation and I feel, I'm good. It's okay to leave then. And again, that took away some of the pressure as well. And enabled me to go along, work with my energy, and leave. And it's perfectly fine to do that. Or I would just sit in the lobby. Often these events take place in bars and restaurants and hotels where you can go and sit in a quiet space away from the main center of activity, or take a walk in a park or around the block or something just to regain a bit of energy as well. So do whatever it takes to manage your energy in your way. And then the final part of the formula prompted me to remind myself regularly that, yes, I can do this. And that victory formula played a central role in my ability to learn, grow, and start feeling more comfortable while networking. So much so, I devoted half of my book, A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking, to sharing that formula with you, because that is the key to building your confidence. And once you have that confidence, everything else clicks into place. A lot of things start to become more doable. And without feeling comfortable getting out there, none of the rest of it matters. Right. And this was a part, as I mentioned, that I found was missing from the books that I referred to. So then the other part of the book looks at the three parts of networking. And that was another big realization for me, that it's what you do before and after a networking event that determines your levels of success. Before that, I just thought it was just showing up with a pocket full of business cards and a smile. But however, understanding these three steps and how they work together enabled me to break things down and master the art of networking bit by bit. This also helped me to see the results of each new action so I could see exactly what was working for me, and each success motivated me to take that next action, and so on. Once I started to follow my victory formula and intentionally follow these three stages of networking, the before, during, and after, things started to fall into place and it was a virtuous cycle. As I got more comfortable with each skill, my confidence grew. This gave me better results and improved my willingness to get out there and network. It has been a long journey. This wasn't something that happened overnight, and it was really tough in the early days. But overall, it has been so enjoyable and rewarding. And it's thanks to my network that I'm here. It's thanks to my network that I started businesses when I'd never even thought of it. I've spoken on stages around the world thanks to the invitations I've had from my network. I've written a best-selling book coached by someone I met through my network. I have coached high profile leaders, business owners, and speakers, again, through invitations from my network. And I've met countless friends who support and inspire me in equal measure. If you're feeling so about your networking, I encourage you try out the victory formula for yourself and learn how to leverage those three stages of networking. As you do, you'll start to love this really important activity for your business. You just never know what people and opportunities are out there waiting for you until you do. Since publishing my book, I've been invited to speak to groups around the world. And whenever I share my Shy Girl's Guide to Networking, there's always someone in the audience who asks, how do you approach networking online? Is it different to how you approach offline? And I don't think it is. I don't think it should be drastically different. You are still speaking and meeting real people. So it's really important that we treat them that way. What I see people do in online groups is they spam the chat with content nobody asked for or links to their LinkedIn profile with no context. So, just like with real networking, treat your online networking as the first step. That's your hello, your introduction to people, but then it's what you do after the networking and before that is really going to determine the quality of those relationships that you start. So avoid that temptation to dump your links in online groups and run, and instead take a moment to introduce your link in the chat. Briefly explain why you feel that what they'll find at the end of your link will be valuable to them, or what will happen when they connect with you on LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok or wherever it may be. And look for opportunities to start conversations. You never know where these will take you. Networking isn't just about finding your next client, and it isn't just about going to large groups of people. It can be done one by one. It's about building relationships with interesting people and then seeing where those new connections take you. Some people may become clients, but many others will become collaborators, supporters, and friends. And that can be just as valuable, if not more so. These days, personally, I don't get to meet as many people as I'd like due to my location here in the Alps in Switzerland. So I love reaching out to people online and people that appear to be like-minded on LinkedIn, for example, and I'll reach out, start a conversation, and invite them for a virtual coffee if it looks like there could be an interesting conversation we can have. This way, I've made many friends. I've found accountability partners and supporters. I've met future podcast guests. In fact, that's how I've met a lot of the guests that you've listened to. I've found really amazing experts with services that can help me and my business to grow. And I've learned so much about the many ways women can succeed in business, as well as the common challenges we face, and had some really fascinating discussions about how can we rise to those. You just never know where your next hello will take you. So I encourage you, keep an open mind and an open heart in all of your interactions. I have captured my full journey and all of the practical advice that will guide you to networking success in my book, A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking. And coming up in just a moment, I've included the first chapter of that to give you a little bit more insight as to what you can expect from the book. And it can not only help you, but if you're looking for an inspiring and thoughtful gift for a friend, you can always gift a copy to other people as well. But I have something else for you too, to celebrate the fact that my audiobook is now available on Amazon and Audible to buy. Next Wednesday, so that's the 13th of March, I am hosting a special value session on how to introduce your business at a networking event. This is one of those moments that always felt really awkward for me. And it's perhaps one of the things people ask me the most is, yeah, but how do I talk about my business and introduce what I do at a networking event without feeling spammy and salesy and without killing a conversation. So I have a method that I love, and it starts a conversation. It brings your new connections into a dialogue with you and invites them to ask you questions. And so you can give a really nice, natural feeling sales presentation as your introduction in a networking event. And I'll be talking you through how to do that in this live value session. It'll be 3 p.m. Central European time, 2 p.m. British time on the 13th of March. There will be a replay available. So if you go to melitacampbell.com/club, you will find all the details on how to join the Dream Clients Club. And when you click on the calendar, you'll get the link to join that event. And also in there, in the classroom section, you'll access the replay for this session, but also all the previous sessions and the Magnetic Messages Challenge, the 4-day challenge. It's all there for you, plus a whole heap of other resources and an amazingly supportive community. And I know that many coaches sell this kind of membership, if you like, for hundreds, some even thousands. For you, well, for everybody, not just for you, but it's free. It's free to join this club. I'm really passionate about ensuring that you have the community, the support, the courage to make your vision a reality and make a positive contribution and difference to the world. And so this club is my way of supporting you. And of course, it's a demonstration of what it feels like to work with me, of course. So for those of you who think, oh, I want to go deeper into this journey with me, then you can get a really good sense of what that will feel like when you join the Value Whispering Blueprint, which is my signature program. But it all starts with a free community. You'll take away a whole heap of value. So come and join us next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Go to melitacampbell.com/club to get all the information that you need and join the Dream Clients Club. And you'll find all the links, replays, resources, community, all sorts in there already for you. So I hope you have found this valuable. If you have, please do share this episode with your network and business besties and leave a review for the podcast on your favorite platform. It really does help more people to find the show and benefit from all the wisdom shared by myself and my guests. There's a lot more value coming up for you in the next episode. But meantime, here is the introduction to A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking. As an introvert who grew up feeling shy and awkward around strangers, networking was always a terrifying prospect. So you can imagine just how amused I am when I'm told that I look like such a natural networker, or when someone remarks, I could never have your confidence. Little do they know it's taken me close to 2 decades and a lot of hard work and courage to reach this stage. I know that I'm far from alone in my battle with networking. And yes, it really did feel as terrifying as going into battle in the early days. And occasionally it still does, if I'm honest. But I've learned just how powerful having a strong network is and how enjoyable the experience can be. This knowledge helps me to push through any wobble moments and come through the other side feeling happier and stronger and ready for the next battle. Over the years, my network has presented me with so many incredible opportunities and wonderful friendships that I would never have experienced if I'd not learned the skills and taken the courage to push myself out there into the network sphere time after time after time. With this knowledge, I wanted to write this book to share how you too can overcome your fear of networking and what I've learned works. However you feel about networking right now, and no matter how shy you believe yourself to be, you can become comfortable with it. And it is so worth the effort. You have so much to gain. Shy girls and boys can network, I promise. In fact, as we go on this journey together, I'll show you the many ways in which your inherent skills as an introvert can actually be to your advantage when it comes to networking. I'll also share my secret hacks to getting around those moments when your doubts stand in the way of your good intentions, setting you free to enjoy a lifetime of new connections and opportunities. And that's important because we all need external perspectives, additional support, fresh inspiration, or encouragement from time to time. That is what your network will do for you. It's the ultimate shortcut to everything you want to achieve. At every stage of this book, I want you to be mindful of two things. Firstly, that this is your journey. And secondly, that there is no right or wrong way, only your way. If any of the ideas I suggest or steps I share don't feel right for you just yet, then take a moment to think about what would. You don't ever want to be or try to be someone that you're not. It's when you show up as your real self that you will feel most comfortable and be able to connect with others most powerfully. That said, you do want to grow into the best version of yourself, one that's capable of realizing all of your goals and dreams. And this takes growth. And growth takes courage. The good news is, I know you can do it, and I am going to give you clear guidance every step of the way. I've split this book into two parts. The first will go behind the scenes and help you prepare yourself for the journey ahead. To push outside your comfort zone is never easy. But where willpower can fail us, a system can step in and help you continue to move forward. That's where my victory formula comes in. I'll show you how you can use this formula to build a foundation for success based on a clear vision and growing confidence. It will keep you getting out there, even when every fiber of your being just wants to curl up safe at home with a mug of hot chocolate and a good book. In the second part of this guide, we will dive into the network sphere and see how it all comes together. I've split this section into 3 subsections: pre-event, in-event, and post-event. As soon as I mastered what to do before and after an event, I found I became far less stressed at the event itself, and I started to enjoy amazing outcomes and opportunities. It was a game changer. But from talking to and training people into how to network successfully, I've discovered that, just like my old self, most people do not pay much attention to the pre- and post-event stages. Instead, they put a lot of pressure on themselves to turn up and say all the right things, meet the right people, and distribute all their cards and brochures during the event itself. This is not only daunting and exhausting, it's not very effective either. I'm going to show you a better way. The book, A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking, is now available on Amazon, in print, on Kindle, and now on audio also. Go get your copy today, then come and join us in the Dream Clients Club to get further resources to help your networking journey. Go to melitacampbell.com/club to join us. Meantime, check out the book, A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking, on Amazon. I look forward to seeing you on the podcast next week and welcoming you to the Dream Clients Club.